I've sailed through primary school, loved it. English, storytelling, always had my answers up, everything, not a problem. And I got to high school and I just fell apart. Absolutely fell apart because, and it's been explained to me now, I never learned to learn. Thanks very much. I've got a Blue Peter badge.
Go on then. All right, we might as well start somewhere.
Yeah, I was on it last year, yeah. So yeah, I was on it. Do you want to know why?
Well, it's probably a better story.
Well, I'll tell you later. So I did a show called The Dumping Ground, which is a Tracy Beaker sort of like spin-off. And they were doing it behind the scenes.
Which was graded here. Just
was it? Oh, you'll be seeing it again because I play a washed-up cruise entertainer who's come to find his son called Tom Chance. He's a magician and he meets his son. And I've reprised the role last week, so that'll be on next year. But he said we'll probably stop. I need to get this off my chest because I've started talking about it now. Really, working in kids' TV, there are you sign a lot of forms. You don't say a lot of things, and I was very good. And on the last day, I got the line wrong, and I went, "Oh, sorry, fuck everyone." And everybody, whoa! And the kid who was playing opposite me, my son, the cool kid, he just goes, "Remember, Justin, we keep it PG on the DG." Because I said to him, I said, "You've missed the trick here," because he's like a magician. And I could have, the trick, because, where have you been all my life, Dad? Well, I'm a magician, I disappeared. And they went, "We don't tend to mock the children who are living in care." Of course. You wouldn't like my follow-up joke then? You want to see what I did with your mum? Cut her in half.
But we were once filming for a Liverpool did this like Get Kids Active thing. And we were filming on the sand dunes because they'd rewritten the lyrics to nursery rhymes and stuff like that. And this woman from the council we were using her iPod for it. And so we'd set up all these 5-year-olds ready to do the dance. And somehow we were doing like the third take of it or something. And somehow it skipped a track to not one of the ones that we were recording, but one in her private collection. So this massive speaker, probably 20 kids on a sand dune, all 5 or 6 years old, hits play, like, "Okay, go," hits play. And what came out just went, "Motherfuckers!" So we weren't invited onto Blue Peter.
No.
But anyway.
I hope they did Hickory Dickory Albert Dot. I hope they did that. So I was thinking about trying to get up on it.
I can't remember now.
Bar Black Sheep, have you any wool? Yes, from St Helens. That's what they call them, don't they?
Well, Justin, we met the other week on set.
We did.
We covered you in purple body paint.
Yep.
You might have seen the ad. But where did it all start?
Go wrong.
Where did it all start for you?
So I was thinking about this when you
grew up round here, right?
Yeah. I'm from Hyde, that creative hotbed of culture. I'm from Hyde originally, born in Ashton, grew up in Hyde, lived in Denton. I was thinking about this before we were talking before. I've been doing this job for 25 years, and it's like it's crept up on me. If you're all freelancers, I was talking to James before about that balance between being creative and paying the bills is the thing that when you start out is the biggest worry on your mind. And even now is the thing that you think about the most, isn't it? When you wake up in the morning, what's the most important thing? So I've had this kind of existence, and I always think it's clinging on. I think when you're a freelancer, you're clinging on, aren't you? But the beautiful thing is, for me, I don't think I've fulfilled my potential. So I think I'm still striving. So when I started, I was ambitious, and I'm still ambitious now. And I think that's the great thing about what we do. People like ourselves who rely on our wits, is that the right phrase? People who rely on our personalities and our own talents and our belief in ourselves. So it's been a 25-year, I wouldn't say roller coaster, it's been more like a log flume. like getting to the top, and then it's all gone to shit. There's not been many, no. But it's been good. No, I love it. 25 years, and I started. So do you want to know my origin
was
story?
it always the dream, like as a
No,
kid?
not at all. Never a dream. I was like, people ask me this all the time. Were you the funny one at school? But all my mates were funny. All your mates are funny. Everybody's mates are funnier than any comedian you'll ever see. I was the mouthy one. I was the one that my mum used to get me out of bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning when she was having a party to do impressions. And I was like 9 standing on the table doing impressions of Jimmy Cricket. People of a certain age will remember Jimmy Cricket, but that would morph into the Reverend Ian Paisley. And I used to say, I've got a letter from your mammy. I'll never surrender. It was like this kind of weird. See, all I could do was that thing, and they were fascinated by it. So I started out. So when I wanted to be funny, and I did a few little like I won the talent competition on holiday once, doing jokes, old jokes, but telling them in style. And when I was about 8 or 9, I told a joke on stage that my parents got banned from the Working Men's Club for. It was the King Kong's ping pong balls joke. I was about 8. It was the Royal British Legion in Cleveland.
Can we?
No, it's an old joke. A joke. Basically, man says to 3 princes, if you want to marry my daughter, you've got to do these things. Bring me the biggest diamond you can get. So he brings the biggest diamond he can get. Bring me some sand from the finest desert in the world. And the next thing, 4 years later, bloke walks in like that, and he says, I said ping pong balls. not King Kong balls.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to sell it. Right, well, basically, recently been diagnosed with ADHD, surprisingly. I'm in show business. You either got that or you're a nonce. And, it's true, I'd rather lose my keys than touch kids. And it's all true. So recently been diagnosed with ADHD and has explained a lot of things. So essentially, and I like to think we're all in the kind of, I think freelance, forgive me if I'm going wrong, pull me back off course, but you're all working in the creative industry, yeah? And you're all freelancers, yeah? Type of thing. Is that sort of a rough kind of idea? I don't think there are many of us in this room that don't have something wonky, something slightly different about us. And that doesn't have to be a diagnosed condition or anything else. You just see things differently. I remember Ken Dodd once described comedians as seeing that's life, and then we look at it on this side. That's the funny side of life, the idea to go that way. And people say about a comedian, they go, oh, you must be dead brave to do it. No, it's the weirdness in the first place that you think I can do that. What kind of freak thinks that he can stand in front of a room full of people looking the wrong way and say words that I think are funny to elicit a response? It's a weird concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's weirder is people who think they can do it who can't do it. They're even weirder. Like, the world is full of them. We'll talk about them. But so I've sailed through primary school, loved it. English, storytelling, I always had my answers up, everything, not a problem. And I got to high school and I just fell apart. Absolutely fell apart because, and it's been explained to me now, I never learned to learn. So I could read when I was 4.5. Like I could do everything that I needed to do, but I couldn't ever get my homework in time. I couldn't remember the right books. I couldn't remember everything. But because I'm so amazing, I masked that behaviour for 5 years at school and never got in trouble. My parents never found out. I mean, it's a different world now, but I can't remember ever handing a piece of homework in on time and didn't pass any exams. It's really a little bit of a shame, really, and sometimes I feel a bit sad about it. So I left school at 16, started work, admin jobs. I was a shipping clerk. At the age of 18, I decided to move to Felixstowe for about 3 months. I know.
Why?
Because it's the home of shipping.
All right.
Yeah. It's where you go.
God, hide.
Felixstowe. I used to get lifts off lorry drivers. So to get home at the weekend because I miss my mate so much. And then, and I don't want this to be a big sob story, from the age of 19 till about 25, I drifted. And when I say drifted, I mean properly, homeless. I was homeless for a period of time. I lived in cars. I lived on the company of kindness of friends. And it was always there, getting in trouble, doing the things that we all do, not addiction, but recreational drug use and, not caring, living from day to day. And then, I met my first wife. This is a showbiz story. And I kind of settled down. We bought a house, had a baby.
Back here?
Here, yeah, I wasn't in Felixstowe for very long. Doesn't play a significant part in my backstory. I watched Batman 5 nights on the trot, the Tim Burton original, because I was so bored. Every night I went to watch it at the cinema. It was a good film. And then I started working in, to cut a long story short, I worked in parcels. Like, not in parcels. I wasn't like a jack in the box. I worked for people like DPD and CityLink and all those companies doing sales. And I look back at it now, and this is from the age of like 26 to 29, the most miserable I've ever been in my life. Literally, like, depressed, but not knowing about what depression was or anything else. And I loved comedy. I like music, and I like comedy, and I like sport, and I like all the things that you're supposed to like. I used to go and watch. I used to go to the Southern in Charlton, to the Buzz Club, which was like legendary. The Frog and Bucket. I used to go and see. I used to follow Johnny Vegas around, watch him and all these people, and so right on that time. And then one day I was listening to a comedian being interviewed in the car, and he was talking about being a comedian, and I just thought to myself, how do you become a comedian? It never occurred to me. Like, now you could Google it, couldn't you, or something? But I just phoned up the Frog and Bucket literally there and then and said, how do you become a comedian? They said, oh, we have open mic nights on a Monday. So this was in 1999. I went down on a Monday and I told people I worked with, and 50 odd of them turned up.
That was brave.
And there was about 80 in the audience. 50 of them were my mates. And if you ask a comedian about their first gig, it's always brilliant or terrible. It's never, yeah, it was all right, because there's no way of judging it. It was amazing. It's 5 minutes. It was I've never had a gig like that ever again. Just so good. Loved it. Went back the week afterwards.
Had you prepared all?
Yeah, I'd written
material?
Yeah, I'd written 5 minutes.
What's the timescale like?
About 3 weeks, because it was July and they were doing Edinburgh previews, so there was a bit of a gap before I could get my spot. So I had 3 weeks.
Wow.
And
can you remember what you talked about?
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. I said so many friends that see me, it's good. I'm just sorry my mum couldn't come. My dad's been beavering away since 3 o'clock. Yeah.
With a room full of your mates?
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, good.
I had an Oedipus bagpuss joke. That was quite good. And a joke that I've never been able to make work, but I think is funny, which is my sister's married to Britain's only trained proctologist and orthopaedic surgeon. He's the only man I know who's qualified to know his arse from his elbow. Never get it to really work, though. It's funny enough. But so yeah, and then I went back the week afterwards, died on my arse. So I was confident I had no friends there. It was rubbish. And then I went back week 3 and it was all right.
Same material?
The second week I tried new material. The third week I went back to the tried and tested beavering stuff. And I remember this sort of like kind of light bulb moment of just thinking, how do you say you used to be a comedian? You know, that would have been, I used to do comedy, gave it up. I used to be a clown. It made me feel sick thinking about it, saying that out loud. Yeah, I tried it. What happened? I don't do it anymore. So in the first year, I did 250 shows and had a full-time job and had a 1-year-old child and got divorced.
I can see how they match.
And within about 18 months, lots of great things happened for me. I got the part in Phoenix Nights. I won the City Life Comedian of the Year, and the Comedy Store started booking me. I was so lucky, really lucky. But like you know yourselves, that when luck comes along, you've got to be able to take it. And what you have to do when you take it, you have to work hard. And I worked really, really hard. I wrote really, really hard.
So you dropped in and I got the part in Phoenix Nights. What's the story there?
So
that must have been a huge thing. Yeah.
So I met Peter Kay, and I was like a bit of a fan, because I'd seen him before I started doing comedy, and I'd met him backstage at the Magnet in Liverpool. He was doing a show, and I'd gone along, and I said to him, and I think now when I look back on reflect on these things, I think actually I've done this the right way. Some of these decisions I made and some of the things I said have helped me in, I said to him, can I have an audition? And he went, yeah, you can. He goes, because you're the only one who's asked me for an audition. Everybody else has asked for a part. So I just thought it'd be interesting because I didn't know what an audition was. I wanted to go and see it. The last audition I'd had was for Third Child in the King and I at Romley Forum. Smashed it, got it. It was this big. That was the line. But I actually did it in an accent, different times. So yeah, I got the part. And in the meantime, I got the part. And I also, I auditioned for Danny Boyle the same week for 2 parts. He was doing these 2 TV films for BBC. And I didn't get the parts. One part went to Timothy Spall and the other part went to Christopher Eccleston. Now, I don't know whether it's because they're better than me or because I'd never, if you've ever been for an audition, they're very weird experiences. And I've auditioned people since when I've made things and wanted people, you kind of make your mind up when they walk in the room. You kind of know what you're looking for. You're just waiting for that alchemy, you're waiting for the thing. And he walks in and he said to me, he goes, so what have you been doing since we last met? Which is something they say all the time. You probably have that yourself. And what? And I went, we never met, mate. Like, I shouldn't have said that. And he goes, what have you been doing since your last job? And I went, I've never done anything. It was so weird. I once had an audition one and I said to the bloke, what are you doing? He went, I'm looking at you. I went, oh yeah, I'm having an audition. He was staring at me like that. I've had auditions where I've gone, can I do that again? And they've gone, no. I've had loads of auditions when I first started going, I'm not an actor. Why are you saying that? So anyway, Danny Boyle says to me, he goes, is there anything you want to ask me about my work? And my mate had bet me that I wouldn't say this. So I said, you know your film Shallow Grave? And he went, yeah. I said, you know the scene where they're burying the body and it's illuminated by the tail lights? And he went, yeah. I said, you've seen Goodfellas? I said, you know that scene where they're burying the body and it's illuminated by the tail lights? And I went, when does homage end and plagiarism begin? And Danny Boyle called me a cheeky see you next Thursday.
And you didn't get the part?
I didn't get the part. But luckily I got the part in Phoenix Nights, which then stepped me up and it gave me the confidence. And then I came down, won the City Life Community of the Year, was at the brand new Comedy Store, and all these things kind of...
I don't know.
Right.
Phoenix Nights. So what, did you audition?
I did audition, yes.
And what
So the
what
process...
did that go like?
Well, I subsequently found out...
Because Peter Kay's interesting to me. I've seen him, obviously on stage, we've all seen him on stage, but I've seen him behind the scenes editing stuff. And
yeah,
my perception of that Peter Kay is very different to the one that's on stage.
Yeah, very exact.
And almost serious.
Well, I'd say serious. I'd go beyond you almost and raise you
All right.
to serious. He is an extraordinary person. I'm not friends with him. You know, we were when we filmed and not subsequently, never really been hang out. Not my kind of person, you know. People often in this industry asking, what was it like? People are desperate for you to go, yeah, he kills lambs and drinks the blood. But I think anyone who's that extraordinarily successful has to be a certain way they are. And he is very driven, very focused, very knows what he wants. I would imagine it would be a nightmare to direct him. I would imagine it would be a nightmare to edit with him. I would imagine, because he's got his ideas and he's very clear on them. And what they did on that day, which I found out now this is what they do in all auditions, is they ask you to do it one way, then they ask you to do it another way, and then they sort of ask you to, can you do it in between halfways? And I kind of did. And I think because I wasn't an actor, because I'm not an actor, because we were all comedians, they wanted comedians who could follow direction. Yeah. So because we followed direction, we got the part. I mean, it was a very small part in a thing that people love, and I'm very, very grateful for it. But it's so, you know, in terms of what it did for me, in terms of what I did for it, the balance is amazing. It's given me much more than I ever gave it.
Do you ever resent that's always brought up, or?
No, not at all. No, because I've worked on the radio quite a bit. I'll probably get to that, and you get offered Julie Jones, who was in Emmerdale for 13 years, and now she's doing Run for Your Wife at the Octagon. And they come in and they go, I don't want to talk about Emmerdale. And you think, why, yeah? No one's going to ask you the same questions. There's got to be a hook. Yeah. So no, not at all. I'm very grateful for it. I mean, I am waiting for an original question. So you got a target for it? Yes. And a wash every day. The people ask me that. My favourite bit is, and you'll know this for people who work in editing and that, and interesting, is that they said, what was so amazing was the way the makeup faded over the series. I went, it didn't. Because we were shooting things all different order. There's no way they were doing that. The first day they slapped it on in 5 minutes. I thought this is going to be easy. And then every single day took an hour to get it exactly the same every day. So no, it didn't fade. One day, because what I loved most about it was the first job we'd ever done that like that, free food. So you turn up like full breakfast, proper dinners, and then they give you sandwiches and cakes in the afternoon. So one day I was in the first scene and the last scene, they said, you can go home in between. I went, I'm not, I'm having a dinner. And we were hanging out at the club where we were filming it. So we were just playing snooker and cards, and it was great life. It was lovely. And getting paid. But also I didn't want to take the face off, because once they put it on, I didn't want to do it again. So I was bored, and halfway through the day, I forgot. I went to the Trafford Centre. Walked around the Trafford Centre. And obviously no one knew what it was. They just thought, you know, he's gone for a walk on his own. Look at him, bless him. But it was good, yeah, it was good. But that is now 25 years ago since we did the first one.
I don't know. So then we'll come on to you then win the award at Chorlton Comedy Club, was it?
No, it's at the Comedy Store. I won the
Comedy
City
Store.
Life Comedian of the Year, which was like a big deal then. You know, people had won it.
So you've been doing it for what, a year, 2 years?
18 months, something like that, yeah.
And you win City Life Comedian of the Year.
Yeah. And what happened was, like I say, always these chances you get a bit of luck. I was driving down Hyde Road in my G-Reg Sierra gear, and it had electric windows, and it fell out. Dropped down, you know, off the thing. So when I got here, I taped it up. I was just parked up here, taped it up with a black bin liner and everything else. And my little brother was with me, and I got in, and they went, oh, we've done the running order already. And like when you're in a competition, comedy is very important. You don't want to go on first. You don't really want to go on last. And I went, oh, yeah, I've been stitched above her. And they went, where are you on? I went, first after the break, which is the perfect spot. First after the interval. So I walked on, and I was just very relaxed because I would, you know, and smashed it really. You know, it was the best show I've ever done at that time, and won that. And then Don Ward, who owns the Comedy Store, you know, more or less started the kind of idea of comedy clubs in this country in 1979. He came to me and goes, who speaks for you? I said, what do you mean? He went, who speaks for you? Because what's this biblical shit you're going out with? I speak for myself, verily thus I do. And he meant, have you got an agent? And they took me on, and then within 2 years I was playing the Comedy Store regularly. And, you know, I can imagine people who were sort of around my peers at the time were like, oh, yeah, what's going on there? But you're given these chances and you have to take them. That's what I found doing this job. You're given a challenge and you have to take it and work hard. And
has it been plain sailing since then?
The whole career?
Yeah.
Not really, no. There's been ups and downs, and there's been... I worked for the radio for a long time. I worked on Q103 for about a decade. And the plus side of that, the money was great, really good money. Like the last of the kind of radio money days, you know, proper money.
Right.
And when it goes, it's a big hole. And I'd stopped being a comedian, really. I think I took my foot off the gas. I think if I could rewrite things, I probably wouldn't have done as long on the radio. I think I would have... If I'm dead honest with myself, I did it for the money. And that's never the reason to do anything, is it? It's the reason why you do something. But I think I could have been a better comedian if I'd not done it. And which is what I'm trying to do now, is be a better comedian.
Although, presumably that's prepared you for the podcasts and all that sort of stuff, or does it not feel like that?
Sort of. But it's not hard being on the radio. It really isn't. And these days it's so constricted and it's so formulaic. You know, you have to sort of like explode in this little 3-minute section or your minute and a half. Something like that to talk about. So that kind of thing is all gone. But everything that I've ever done has made me a better comedian. So what the radio does, it teaches you economy of language and about how to get your message across as quickly and as succinctly as possible. So that's one lesson I've learned. Lots of comedians will get jobs on the radio and they go, oh, I'm not playing this shit music. And you think, it's got nothing to do with us. You have to accept certain things are what they are. And that's not just giving up. it's like, what's the point of banging your head against a wall that's never going to yield? So yeah, that was good. And my kids were young, and they, we sort of family life and everything else. That was all good for that period of time. And I met a load of good friends, and stood me in good stead in lots of ways. But in terms, I always think of myself, I'm a stand-up comedian. Like, if everything else went and I just did that, I'd be very happy, because I love it. It's my favourite thing. Being painted in purple body paint and being paid a few quid to do that, that's brilliant, because that pays for the extras and the nice stuff, and it takes the pressure off. But if I love stand-up comedy. I love it so much. I love getting on stage. I love the control, being the editor, the producer, the director, the writer, everything. I love that. Such a pure form of entertainment and communication. I love it. Have I explained that enough that I love it?
So then you've done, we talked briefly about podcasts. You just launched a new one, actually.
Yeah, a Man United one. Got any United fans in? It's called
Room Divider.
It's called The Good Days Are Coming, and that's just... That's what it's called.
Started in 1890.
Yeah. It's essentially myself, Noz, Bearded Genius, Nuruddin Chowdhury. Don't know if you know him. He's all over socials. He's very funny. And Jim White from The Telegraph, not that one.
Right.
Because another Jim White, extraordinary transfer news, not him, journalist. And it's just us talking about our experiences at the match. Just like, we watched the match. It's always the morning after, the night before. It's not like, I think we need to get a CDM, because we don't know enough about football. There's too many of them. So that's that one. And then I've got a podcast that I've been doing now for 13 years.
Wow.
It's called About 30 Minutes, No More Than 45. Because people say, what's it about? And I say that. And it's basically an audio diary of my week. So on there, there'll be a bit stand-up, going for a meal and reviewing that. And then now I top and tail it with my daughter, who's 20, and we host it, and we have little features on it. And it's, it's relatively popular. I think I should be able to push it a bit more, but I like making it, and it's kind of gets the creative juices flowing in the week and everything else. Makes you have a product.
Yeah. And I love that you do it with your daughter. I've got 3 daughters, so it resonates with me. But so there's the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You wrote for a bit, that like sitcom. Radio
2 series on Radio 4 of a show called Everybody Quite Likes Justin, which was really good. And then we made a kind of version of it for TV, and it wasn't good enough. That's the top and bottom of it. It was all right. It wasn't good enough. And it kind of put me off, really, because the holy grail is to get a sitcom and sort of propel you that way. But there's so few opportunities now for sitcoms on TV. And also, I'm like 55. Middle-aged, boring, white, straight bloke. I've had enough privilege in my life. I understand that, and the world, that world isn't looking for me. They've already got loads of me. So now...
You're a left-handed vegan, though.
I'm left-handed, and I'm vegan. Neurodivergent now as well, mate. So, it's all happening. And I've had my hip replaced. So I've taken my eye off that. I'm working on a novel. I'm writing a novel. Might take forever, but I like the idea of it. And sort of the next phase really is I do stand up. I do a new show every 2 years at the Edinburgh Fringe. I get a show ready for every 2 years. Take that on tour for 18 months. And really now trying to put as much of my own stuff out there on social media. And this is what, one of the reasons why I like to meet people like yourselves is to learn some things about that, because some things just go fly, some things don't. The content's always pretty good, but the presentation I haven't got quite right. It's a bit, I bought all the cameras. Of course I have, got ADHD. Spent about $8,000 on cameras and mics and things and stuff like that, but just basically never read an instruction manual.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Auto. Doesn't really look... Never looks good though, does it? Just pressed auto. So what I do is in the show's an hour and a half, spread over 2 halves. And so the first 25 minutes is me talking to the audience. And there's a lot, the internet's full of comedians going, what's your name? That's a nonsense name. You like a paedophile, mate. And it's not that, it's more getting stories out of people and chatting to them and being organic and trying to put that stuff on the internet now that could only have happened that night. Yeah. And I'm very sure when I speak to somebody in the audience, I say, I want to talk to you. I don't want to pick on you. I go, if you don't want to talk to me, imagine you're in mass and you don't want communion, just do that. I'll give you a blessing. That's what we'll do.
So you, I mean, you are a grafter, aren't you? Like,
Think so.
I was listening to David O'Doherty's podcast, the What I Did Yesterday thing, and great podcast. That is the premise of it. What did you do
brilliant.
yesterday?
Yeah, no preparation.
He was on it, and your day was exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, so, think this guy is writing a book. He's on tour, aren't you? You're shooting silly TV ads with us. You are doing 2 podcasts now. And what people probably don't know is that occasionally you're setting up a coffee van in Thornfield Park.
Yeah. So my son's got a coffee van and he runs the catering at a golf club. But I do all that for him because he's useless. And I've got my mum that I look after as well. Got a lot going. There's a lot going on, but it's not. I'm not incapable of doing it. I'd rather be busy than not busy. I think what I need to do is, what I am doing is getting better at being organised and focused. And since finding out I've got ADHD, which I didn't really need to spend all that money on that diagnosis. I should just listen back to that podcast, shouldn't I? Yeah. I was a bad day. The dog jumped out of the van. So I've got a 1968 Citroen H van, like a bread van, those little things. I'm driving up the road and it's like, it's really bad. And the dog, and it's left-hand drive, and the dog sat on the passenger seat. And at one point, the door swings open. The dog jumps out as I'm going up the road. And I'm got on a lead and I pull her back in. I absolutely shit myself. The van stalls, right? And I pull over to one side and there's a massive queue of people behind me in rush hour. They're all going mad and everything else. I'm talking to the dog. And the bloke comes up to beside me going, what are you doing, you fucking idiot? And I've leaned down to get something. He looks up and all he can see is a Cocker Spaniel. In what he thinks is the driver's seat because it's a left-hand side. And then just drives off. And actually, what the story, I forgot the part of the story, he works for one of these the road diggers companies, laying all the gas cables and everything else. And they were on the way to my son, where he works as a golf club, for a breakfast meeting, having bacon sandwiches that I was having to go and get the bacon for to take to that. So, oh God, it was a day and a half.
Amazing. I want to get on to, what time am I? I forgot my watch. Oh, we're good. I want to get on to, what's your creative process? So let's take, I don't know if it's different for whether you're writing a novel or whether you're writing a show, but every 2 years you write a show.
Yeah.
Talk us through, where's it start? What do you...
So everything's written on stage, literally.
Okay.
Everything. So...
What do you mean by that?
So now, from about now, because we're about 11 months out from the show, is I'll do at least one new material night a week. So I go to places in Chester, the beer place, it's got a good one, and Alexander's, the Creatures. Do you know Chester?
I live in Chester.
All right, so
I love those places.
Yeah. So the Garden Social, they have a comedy night once a month, and the beer. So one of my best mates lives in Chester, and I hang out there quite a bit. Creatures up in the northern quarter, different places, the hot water.
So you don't bring it into your touring show?
Try not to, because I'm not giving those people new stuff.
Okay, yeah.
They've already got enough of the old stuff. And it's counterproductive, really, because you end up telling the same jokes. Try not to have a crossover. So the show that I'm working at the moment, the working title is called Mainly Torso. Because my daughter said, oh, you're mainly torso, Dad. Very little legs. So I want to write a show about the body. So everything to do with the injuries I've had, problems I've got with body conscious image and all that sort of stuff. So I've got that rough idea. So I write notes down, and I also say to people, is this funny? And they go, yeah. And I write that down. And then I get up on stage with scraps of paper and just talk it through. And it's really gut-wrenchingly awful. This is the worst part of the job, because you can stand there and you've got to commit to it. You've got to put your stuff out there. I mean, you 3 guys who put your work out there, it's daunting, isn't it? Going, this is what I think is good. And you're all talented. Like, your stuff's done and it's nice and presented. I'm going, these are just ideas I had because I couldn't sleep, you know, and that sort of stuff. And
So do you still tank every now and then? Or are you at you sort of know what...
I think I've got a bit like, if Ronaldo's having a bad game, he's still got enough in the locker to like kind of look good. I've still got a few tricks. I can still pull things out of the bag. I can still work with the audience a little bit to stop me going, yeah. But I'm still.
I've just got you after a good joke just doing that.
Yes,
The Ronaldo.
yeah. My favourite thing in stand-up comedy is when you see a comedian, you'll have all heard this. They'll do a joke and they'll get a big laugh and they'll go, yeah, took the rest of the day off when I wrote that one. And I feel like going, you should have carried on writing, mate. You're in a very rich vein of form. That stands out. So yeah, so 75% of what you think is funny is not funny. So it's about shaping it and it's like sculpting it and trying to get it out there. So that 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And what I do is I record every single one of them. Record them on my watch now, really weirdly. Just record it on my watch. And then in the car on the way back, listen to it. And then on the way to the next gig, listen to it again. And there's little things you'll pick out that you not remember. And then 15 minutes and then I start putting them into my club set. So if I get a bit, it's kind of like you get these bits and these bits become sections and then the sections become a 20. Then you put it all together and then you've got, I probably need by about March next year, 40 minutes of brand new material to then will get polished and changed and what they call in comedy toppers, put the extra joke on top. That's my favourite bit is, something's funny, then just going, can we make this funnier? Can we make this funnier? And then cut, then you start really shaping it down. And it's about being brutally honest with yourself and saying, is this funny enough? Because sometimes audiences laugh their heads off at stuff and it's because it's fresh and you put it out there, you've performed it well, but it might not always have the longevity that you need. So yeah, and I'm never really happy until it's finished and I filmed it. So the last one the last show I did, I was really happy with. It's on YouTube, it's free of charge if you want to watch it. I filmed it at Shakespeare North in Prescott, which is like a recreation of the Globe. It's really nice. Edited in here, didn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. My first DVD I made, I hated it. It was made in a rush, I didn't like it, but the second one I really liked. Yeah, and that's it now. So that's the idea, is film a new show every 2 years, put it on YouTube, free of charge. Hopefully enough people watch it, and then they come buy tickets for the next tour and that sort of thing. And that's it, really. 55, people say, I don't think I'll ever retire. I think I've got 20 years left.
Good.
To get there. No, I don't mean alive. I mean, hopefully I'll live longer than that. I don't, like, do you know the comedian Mick Miller? He's an old school 70s comedian. He's got a bald head and long hair. You might have seen clips of him on TikTok and everything else. And he's just brilliant. He just, loves it and he carries on. And he's my kind of inspiration. Ken Dodd and those people, like, if you're loving it and you can do it, why wouldn't you do it? This is the other thing as well. And I forgot to say this. Success. For me, success is very simple. I've never woke up once in the last 25 years and thought, I've got to go to work. That's pretty special, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
If you can get up every day and be excited about what's to come, my son, you'll be a man. I mean, there are days when I go, oh, God, got a bloody doodle-doo. There are days when you've got, and the trout, I've got to go to Banbury on Thursday. I don't know if you've been to Banbury. No one wants to go to Banbury. I've got to get there on a third. I'm not looking forward to the journey there and everything else. But what I've started doing is thinking, well, make that nicer. So I'll go to the gym. So I decided to go to the gym on the way and break the journeys up and do that sort of thing. But still wake up every day thinking this could be the day where I make it.
Well, you it's not all accidental, is it? I mean, you've talked about grafting, but one of the things that I discovered preparing for today was you said you watch dance.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain that?
Well, not just dance. So So the Fringe, who's been to the Fringe? Most, yeah, good. If you've not, then you need to go because it's incredible. People just think it's comedy and it's not. There's so much going on. So if I go up to the Fringe for a month, I think of that as like summer school. Well, they call it clown school because you go and you come back a better comedian and everything else. But then I'll go and watch ballet, or I'll go and watch opera, and I'll watch gymnastics and circus and jugglers and spoken word and poetry. And every time you watch a performer, you get something from how they do it, and you can take little bits. Because I think a comedian is essentially the ultimate performer. We're doing everything, you know, everything. And then you can learn. I saw Swan Lake in Paris at the Paris Opera, and I just watched that. I didn't understand it at all. Well, I do understand it. It's kind of obvious, but there's nothing. It wasn't like, oh my God, the scales. But I just looked at the way. What I got from that was when they weren't doing anything. Like great acting is when they listening, the sort of poise before movement, the stillness before movement. And I thought, if you think about that in comedy, you can. I have a tendency to try, and I'm doing it subconsciously now. I'm slowing down, but I have a tendency to rush my things. But sometimes, the longer the pause or the purer the pause, I find it hard to describe. It's not just shut it up, because we can all shut up, not say anything, and then say something. That's relief. But the kind of controlling your gaps and things like that, and that sort of thing, that's what I got from that show. But loads of little things. I think magicians present really well. Magicians, I watch magic all the time. They're brilliant. I love that. I love watching those.
Well, you said in the same interview, you were talking about how everyone obsesses over the words. And everyone thinks too much about the words. Like, you've written the jokes, you know they're funny. It's all the other stuff that comes around, how you present it. And so you
took the rest of the day off when I did an interview.
So you study. So because you come across on stage just like you're winging it almost, which is the skill, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the secret. That's what you want it to look like.
But how choreographed is? Have you thought about where your hands are going to be? Are you carrying yourself where the pauses are?
Probably not. But here's a funny thing: if somebody ever takes stage photos of me, and I'm doing this, I know exactly where I am in the joke.
Really?
Yeah, I know exactly where I am in the joke. I know what joke I'm doing by my facial expression and everything. So it's learned behaviour, not rehearsed behaviour. Does that make sense? Kind of, yeah. And I use my hands quite a bit. I try and be expansive. I try and do things. And then every now and then I try and think of doing something differently. I do think about that a lot. But once it's locked in, it's just locked in then.
Are you like in the mirror?
No.
Talking to yourself?
Fucking hell, no. Imagine that. No.
I don't want to, but...
No. Some comedians do that. Some comedians practice. Some comedians visualise before a show. You'll see them in the corridor. No, because I'm very conversational, it's kind of easy for me to do that. No, I don't. I only practice on stage. It's it's hard. I've often thought, and the last 3 shows I've had a director, which I've never had before, but more script editor, so it's not on stage directing. But I do think, well, maybe, I'm not averse to thinking maybe I should get somebody to look at movement and everything else. And it's funny, 25 years.
Bring a bit of Swan Lake in.
Yeah, why not? Just come on in a tutu and not mention it. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Just not mention it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
There's loads. There's so many things, because you think comedy is just a man or a woman or somebody just stood at a mic telling jokes. You think that's it. That's so simple, isn't it? That's all you're doing. Stood at a mic. But you got to think about how you stand, which hand do you use? Do you keep it in the stand or not? What do you do? Do you hold it down there? What's your mic technique? What do you do with the thing? Some people, I hate the idea now that we're moving away from no leads. I think the lead is stand-up comedy. I think the mic with the lead is stand-up comedy. I think these ones without them, you're a bingo caller on radio mics. For me, that's... And then some people use these kind of mics now, John Bish and Michael McTaggart, they're all doing this and they're all presenting it. And I think, oh, you're doing a kind of like a live set, like a conference. I really think an SM58 mic with the lead is stand-up comedy. It's really important. And I've been thinking recently, 25 years, I still haven't decided what I wear on stage. I need to think about that. I'm thinking about what I wear on stage.
Well, you said that you've tried a bit of that and it performs differently on social.
Yeah, so because
which is mad. You don't think about that sort of stuff, do you?
No, so the better it's filmed and the brighter it is, and sometimes the colours pop a bit. I don't know, you probably, more people in the room might understand it more than I do. Saturation, is that the right word? Sometimes a heavily saturated thing really stands out and then people stick with it a little bit longer. Some of my best jokes I filmed badly. No one cares because they go, oh, it looks a bit shit. Looks like you're in the arse end of a pub. It's all a bit soft focus, all a bit rubbish. But the stuff that I filmed with Will, he did it. It was a proper shoot. Just miles better. Just will work a lot better. So yeah, thinking about all that really.
Very good. Any questions from the floor?
This is really awkward if there's not any. Yeah.
Hiya.
Hi.
I've always been curious about when comedians pick out people in the audience. I don't know if it's like a trade thing or like you specifically might have a technique, but how do you pick people? Do you go for the vulnerable or I don't know?
This is being filmed. If that clip goes, how do you get people? Do you go for the vulnerable? Just for the record.
We'll cut it with that. I'm not a nonce.
I'm not. Well, there is a massive trend at the moment because it's quite easy to get out and put it on socials of talking to the audience and that sort of stuff. I think smiley faces. People people look, if you start talking to them and they start smiling and talk to you, you look away. Some people say, you can straight away, 25 years in, I know there are some people that you don't. If they're very wanting to talk to you, red flag. Red flag. But I think highfalutin, if I want to be highfalutin about this, I sometimes think of an audience as like an orchestra. And I'm the sort of conductor, that's the word, isn't it? And sometimes through a show, you're trying to bring this section, you feel they flag a little bit, What the comedian will do is, if there's 500 people laughing their heads off and one person isn't, focus on them. Get right on them. There's no matter what you do, you can't see anybody else. See that one person that's not laughing, and that cuts to your very soul. And you wake up in the middle of the night and go, "What did I do wrong?" And you go and see those people afterwards, and you go, "Wow, you're not laughing." And they went, "I loved it." I just don't laugh. Some people don't laugh. I don't laugh. I watch it laugh, and I don't laugh, but I'm loving it inside. So yeah, you can kind of tell by what the group dynamics are and that sort of thing. I don't pick on people, I don't think. I like conversations with people. I like to get to know people. Some of the weirdest and funniest things come out in those conversations. And I think the audience love that. When something that could have only happened that night happens, is great.
I'm thinking about you calling out that affair.
I didn't call the affair out. If you don't know what it
wasn't as Coldplay as it might have been, but it was pretty close.
No, I sometimes say, how long have you been together? Blah, 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 and I go, have you been together? Did you have an affair? And I said this to a couple in the audience in Liverpool. She looked at him, he looked at her, and then they both went, yeah. And in that moment, I realised they had both gone through a tough time, but the way they dealt with it is that they would always be honest about it. And that was kind of like a really nice moment. And then I went, who are you? And they went, you're the daughter. And I went, did you know about it? She went, yeah. She went, I was 12. She's like 28 now. I'm going, oh my God, this is going down a dark road. And I said, did it affect you? She went, I miss my auntie. I went, oh, that's done. Who's the auntie? Sometimes, yeah, you get, yeah.
Do you ever wish you could back out?
No.
Or do you just go?
No regrets.
You just go. Yeah.
Because it's not like I go, oh, hello, Deborah and Dave, done a bit of deep diving on you. What is really good that you can do is if you're hosting a show, like it's a mixed bill and you're the MC, and someone's been a bit of a prick and you found out what they're called, where they're from, what they do for a living, LinkedIn. In the interval, you can find out so much about them. LinkedIn is bigger than Facebook because everybody tells you everything on LinkedIn, where they went to university, went to school, where they worked, what their ambitions are. You can really fucking get at them. You can find out who the boss is. Blows their mind. How's it going, Dave, down at Dewars and Sons? How's Peter, your boss? So I don't. Yeah, there's a skill in finding out who's good. But also there's a trait amongst comedians. We go down cul-de-sacs and you just can't get back from it sometimes. You just keep chipping away. You think, what are you doing? Just keep going. And in 25 years of doing it now, I've not learned the art of getting out of that one sometimes. Also, the other problem I have as well is that if it's joke's not going well, I can't not mention it. I was going, it's not going very well, is it? You know, there's nothing worse than talking a gig down. Anyway, thanks for your question.
There's another one over there.
I don't suppose you play Flixton, would you? Because there's a comedy club started there. Mick Miller's playing in January.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I'd not heard of him for years. And I was going on to, because it's a young guy and I was on to him about the Southern.
Yeah.
He's got new comedians going, but when you said you try out material.
Yeah, tell him to get in touch.
Walk from my house.
Well, there you go. Anybody else need anything?
I need door-to-door comedy
Yeah, well,
gigs.
yeah. Tell him to drop us a line because I'm looking for previews and I don't like to travel.
That sounds like no to you. So,
Do you have a question?
Yeah, what made you get a diagnosis of ADHD at 55?
I think I knew, and the algorithm. Instagram was sending me that way. And also, we're in a safe space, aren't we? We're in a safe space. During lockdown, I had a bit of a tough time. I'll tell you, because it's important that I'm honest. I had a mental health breakdown. Don't start crying. I had problems at home and one thing and another, and it was all about lockdown and all about lots of other things. But I think lockdown was such a vacuum for us all creatively that it gave me too much time to think about myself. And I thought about myself and I didn't like myself much and I went down a hole. And I'm out of that hole now through medication, which I used, and therapy, which I was very grateful for. And I talk about it in my stage show. I say I love therapy. Where else am I going to get a chance to speak about myself? That's a joke. And my therapist said to me, have you ever been diagnosed for ADHD? And I said, no, why? She goes, well, I'm not qualified, but if you haven't, I've never met anyone who shows every single sign. So I carried that around with me for a couple of years, and loads of comedians got ADHD. It's kind of almost a joke. And also then I started thinking about, I don't want to be a moaner. I don't want to be a bandwagon jumper. I felt like it was trendy to say you had ADHD, and fought myself with it for ages and ages and ages and ages. Did a couple of online tests, which at the end they say fill in your credit card details to get results. I never did. So then it went, you've clearly got ADHD because you couldn't fulfill this task. But the more I thought about it, the more I sort of self-diagnosed, and I thought, well, that's not very good because I'm just going to worry about it. So I went and paid for the diagnosis. I don't know if anybody else has gone through the process. You have to fill a form in. The person you live with normally, who knows you the best, fills a form in. And then somebody from your childhood who knew you before you were 12. And the saddest thing is no one knows me. There are no adults around that knew me well enough. My mum's around, but she's not capable of filling forms in like that. So I had to do this like dot test. I don't know if anybody's seen this thing. You have to press a button when you see a red circle and all sorts of things. So competitive. trying to win it. And then I went and he gave me the diagnosis and he said, like 98 out of 100, you've got ADHD. So that was about about 8 months ago. And I've just, do you want to, is it something that you?
Yeah, I have ADHD.
ADHD.
I was diagnosed about 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's like an age thing, innit? It's like you've got through all your life and it's been fine, and then you get to like...
Our age.
Yeah.
My age. Your age, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a lot younger than you.
Yeah, I know you are. which only means I've struggled for longer than you have. But did you have? I had a period of grief where I worried about what I could have been and what I should have done and all these things, and it really upset me a little bit. And then I thought, well, what's the point? Because nothing's going to change. Yeah. Did you go for medication? No. Right. I've got an appointment tonight for medication because. Pardon? I will do. I think knowing that I've got ADHD has not made life any easier for me. I think in an ideal world you can go, and I do sometimes. At the moment, I'm having a bad time with it, where I'm all over the place, stressed out with stuff, and jobs are not getting finished and things like that. But then every now and then I go, do yourself a favour, give yourself a break. You're working really hard. Your reason feel like this is because of this, this, and this. Yeah. And also when I struggle with my mental health about 5 years, mental health. I struggle with my mental health.
It's the hide coming out of me.
Yeah, there's on the Manchester Mind website, they've got a great resource, and I think a lot of them do, and it's a real good thing that says, have you eaten properly? Have you slept properly? Have you connected with nature? Have you talked to friends? And all these checklists, and most of the time you go, no. And so really that's what we need to do every now and then is see the horizon. I know you like going walking, that's what I do. I think it's really important to see the horizon every now and then and feel at one with nature. But it's really important for me. So what was the question? ADHD head. So I'm going to try the medication because I've had friends who use it when they need it. I don't want to be on it all the time because I also think it helps me do what I do. Yeah.
I was going to say, I heard someone who comes off the medication when they want to get creative.
That's like a superhero film, isn't it? They come off it to be creative. Do you find yourself creative with it? Is that?
I'm not particularly creative, so I'm probably the non-creative person in the room. I like procedures and stuff like that. So
that's interesting. So do you think because you've made yourself follow procedure, that's your medication?
I only follow procedure for like 2 hours a week. So I like properly cram everything. And what it's done for me, which is like the big getting a diagnosis thing, is I'm quite eccentric, which I only know James, but James will say that is a true story. I don't know what I'm saying. What it's done for me is it allows me to understand why I'm like that. That's it. So I'm a bit different, and I've always been a bit different, and it explains that for me. So it helps me forgive myself for being a bit of a dickhead most of the time.
Well, you know what? Everyone's a bit of a dickhead, but we've got a reason. All these normal, straight people have not got a reason.
Why would you want to be like that?
Exactly, and I.
Oh, now he's got the diversity card.
No, it's an it's I think I'm going to try every which way I can with it. I think I'm going to just see what opportunities there are. I might as well. I'm paying for the appointment. But it's a real big thing, and I'm very lucky that I've been able to pay for the diagnosis and get it done a lot quicker than a lot of people.
I find you can get a really quick diagnosis if you hang out with someone who's just recently been diagnosed with ADHD, because they just tell you.
This is the problem. This is the problem. Yeah. Everyone. That's the thing. Is people still like my mate Danny McLaughlin from Chester. He's got a great line. He goes, "Well, we've got ADHD now." He goes, "Well, it's like type 2." It's kind of learned, isn't it? I find.
Actually, we're going to.
I'm a frustrated minimalist as well. I love the idea of being a minimalist because there's less to think about. But I'm also a hoarder. Yeah. Like, can you be a hoarding minimalist? What I like to do is buy all the things, put them in boxes, and never see them.
John, last question.
No, I was just going to say I've had medication as a way of bringing a bit of structure in, and it made me a different person.
Did it?
Yeah. It kind of takes away a lot of that impulsivity that actually is who you are. So it might help you with writing, get structure and.
But the impulsivity is the kind of the idea to spark off, isn't it? Yeah. I think it might help me tidy my wardrobe. Maybe those are the days, the non-creative days, and you're supposed to use it.
I've got stuff all over the house that I think, I'll just put it there and I'll deal with it.
Doom piles.
2 years later.
Anybody, you know what these are? Doom piles. Yeah. You tidy up, you put everything into a pile and think, I've done the job. You haven't. You just tidied your mess away, haven't
I
you?
do know where it is.
You know where it is. I know where it is. I'm with you, mate. That's fine. Like, and I live with somebody who's very much wants to be in control. Very much. Yeah. And menopausal. What a combination. Is that the last question? Has anybody got gone?
Really quick. You said that you wake up every day thinking this might be the day that you make it.
Yep.
What is making it, and how's that changed since you've had the diagnosis?
Probably making it. Probably. I rephrase what I mean by that. I wake up every day thinking this may be the day I take the next step, because I do think I've made it in some ways. So the next step. So for me, what I'd like is I would like to write a sitcom. I'd like to get a book published. I'd like to sell more tickets on tour. That's, so it's next levels, and I can see those levels in my head. At the moment, I think in the sort of stand-up comedy of Britain world, I think I'm top of the championship. In terms of ticket sales. I think in terms of talent, I'm Premier League, mate. But, I think this about myself. And that's come in the last 5 years since talking about the ADHD and the depression and everything else. I've come out of that fog a little bit and gone, no, actually, I am really good at comedy. I'm probably one of the best. I know I am. I'm as good as anybody you see on telly, but I've just not had the chances they've had yet. So as long as I keep working hard, as long as I'm throwing everything at the wall, then I've got a chance. And I'm kind of like, try and be a bit stoic about it, try and control the controllables, try and not worry about things that shouldn't bother me. But now I've got this golden ticket of ADHD, maybe that could get me on Radio 4.
Well, it's a great place to end the conversation. Can we thank Justin?
I'm also, I'm on LinkedIn as well, so if you want to hook up, I don't know what you say, link in.
What, with your LinkedIn stalking history, I don't think anyone is going to...
If there's anything that, we could work together on stuff, and also, this, I'll probably open myself up to a thing now, if anyone's got a project that they're working on and they're pitching and they want a voice, or they want a male voice, if you want a male voice or anything like that, and I can do it at home, I've got all the stuff, I can do that sort of stuff, and I can do that. If you're interested, if you're looking for some help on that, that's what I can do.
Brilliant. What a generous offer. Justin, you talked briefly about mental health and that sort of stuff. We have, it's part of the reason we're a group here, because a lot of freelancers, you isolated, you work on your own. So I do want to take the opportunity to say, and I know recently in our community we've lost certain people and things like that. So I always want this to be a place where you feel like you can come. If we're not having an official gathering, then the door's always open. And we have announced this before, but we have set aside a little pot if you need professional help and can't access it. So please lean on us if you don't have anyone else and each other. But I want to mention that because it's been brought up.
If anybody also wants to talk to me directly about ADHD or mental health or anything that you want a little chat, then get in touch.
Brilliant. All right, one more time can we thank Justin?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.